What if we could be heroes like the Justice League, each with our own unique superpower to fight climate change? Imagine having Superman's strength, Wonder Woman's courage, or Flash's speed. But here's the real question. In our battle against global threats, how can we ensure that our collective efforts as a group aren't just heroic gestures, but genuinely effective in making a difference? Today, I'm not here to talk about climate action. I'm here to challenge you. We're facing a climate crisis, and while everyone's talking about climate action, the real question is, are we actually making a difference? One question that I always find myself asking every day is how we can be sure our actions aren't just performative, but actually making a difference. I personally have always asked myself these questions, and sometimes it made me feel like I'm an imposter and anxious about my own work, which becomes a big barrier for young people to perform well in climate action. When the impact can't be seen or felt, we start to lose hope in what we do, and the spark disappears too. I learned that the answer lies in 3 ways. First is identifying the issues that are most relevant and most urgent, so there's a lot of room for you to produce different types of actions. Second, defining the type of action we do based on the capability of our leadership and our team's execution skills, because the best ideas are only as good as our ability to bring them to life. And third, how we measure the impact, both the seen and unseen, because what gets measured gets improved, and the real change is felt in ways both tangible and intangible. I hope I can sort of paint my reflections and journeys about these 3 steps in the next couple of minutes. The first step is to know where to focus all of your energy. One thing about the climate crisis is that not all the climate issues are created equally. Some are urgent, some are important, and some are both. When I first started Green Welfare Indonesia, 4 years ago, as a 15-year-old who did not understand anything, I faced so many challenges in identifying which specific area I wanted to dedicate to. I realized that trying to tackle everything at once was impossible. So I took a step back. I asked, what is the most pressing issues in our community? What can we address that will make the biggest difference? In which area can we create a bigger impact with our limited resources? Green Welfare Indonesia started with a mission that, in hindsight, didn't feel close to the heart of the communities that we were trying to impact. We initially set out with the goal of advocating for sustainable individual lifestyle, focusing heavily on promoting plant-based diets and sustainable agriculture. Now, of course, while these are important aspects of a greener world, we quickly realized that they weren't resonating with the people in our target area of impact, Greater Jakarta. The reality is, many of the communities we were engaging with faced more immediate concerns, and all of you have also felt this. Issues like waste management, access to clean water, and the effects of urban pollution in Jakarta. Our original mission felt so disconnected from their day-to-day lives, so it made it very difficult for us to create real change. Now we've shifted our focus to environmental education that still encompasses sustainable consumption lifestyle as a sub-advocacy, because we believe that this is where we can make the most meaningful impact. I'm sure all of you has never learned about climate change as an elementary student. And around the world, UNESCO mentions that there's still 100 countries that does not mention climate change education in their curriculums, and Indonesia is still in this process of integrating it. By educating young people, especially young people, about the environment, we're not just advocating for change, but we're also empowering them to be a part of it. This shift has allowed us to engage with communities in ways that feels relevant and impactful. And for example, through our educational programs, we've reached over 5,000 students in the last year, helping them understand how environmental education directly affects their lives and what they can do about it. Once we know what to tackle, the next step is to match our actions with our strengths and capabilities. And this goes both ways if you're leading a team or you're being a part of a team. We have an amazing team at Green Welfare Indonesia, aged from 15 to 25, with each of our members having equally unique skills. And instead of everyone trying to wear the multiple hats, we identified who excelled where. Our leaders in communication took charge of our campaigns and external marketing, while our leaders in creative thinking handled substance and project design. And our leaders in strategy took care of creating a detailed project execution roadmap. For example, when we recognized that some members were more comfortable behind the scenes rather than in the spotlight, we tailored them to maximize their strength, assigning them to research, content creating, logistics, and this approach not only boosted their confidence, but ensured that each aspect of our projects was handled by someone truly skilled in the area. One of our other best practices at Green Welfare Indonesia is to regularly reassess our team's strength and adjust roles accordingly, so it allows us to adapt to new challenges and maintain a high level of effectiveness. It's important to understand that a team's success hinges on aligning individual strengths with the task at hand. And so when it came to executing our environmental education programs and developing our learning modules with the Ministry of Education, we knew we had to leverage the unique strength within our team. We didn't just throw everyone into the project and hope for the best. Instead, we played to our strength. Our research-oriented members, they dived into the latest environmental data and made sure that our content was accurate and relevant. Those with a creative edge took more charge of designing the modules, making them not only informative, but engaging to the audience. And our strategic thinkers mapped out a detailed execution plan so we make sure that the modules would reach the schools we wanted to impact. So when we aligned our team's strength with the needs of the project, we didn't just create educational materials, we created tools that truly connected with our audience. In any impactful project, creating a strong, diverse team is the capstone of success. Building a strong team is more than just assembling skills for me. For me, it's about leveraging human capital to unlock financial capital that you need for your project in the first place. The right team doesn't just execute a project, they attract the resources needed to jumpstart a project at the first place. In essence, a well-created team doesn't just work on a project, they become the very foundation that determines the potential and the success of your project. So why measure impact? Because if we're not measuring, we're just guessing. And guessing isn't going to solve the climate crisis. I learned that measuring impact is about accountability. It's about making sure that every money spent, every tree planted, and every campaign launch is pushing us closer to the climate goal we want to achieve. And in this case, our national climate goals or the Paris Agreement to keep global temperatures at 1.5 degrees Celsius. It took me a while to truly understand the depth of real change we're creating, both visible and invisible. But without measurement, we can't learn, improve, or prove that our actions matter. In my work, we develop a simple framework to track our impact. For seen impact, it is the stuff that we can easily measure and see. We counted things like how many trees were planted, how much CO2 were reduced from a particular offsetting project, or how many environmental education books we've distributed, as well as maybe the number of attendants in our events or our media coverage. But what was more important was the unseen impact, like how my actions made my team feel more connected or how bigger community felt more empowered. Let's first talk about the seen impact. This is where the numbers come in. In the organizational world, we call this impact reporting. We usually do this on an annual basis, but it can be also project basis. And these metrics are critical because they give us a clear picture of our environmental footprint. They're the before and after pictures of our environment. They are also important because we can build public trust from this and build credibility for donors and sponsors to invest in our goals. But here's the thing, numbers don't lie, but they also don't tell the whole truth. We've had our share of challenges too. I remember when I was 16, I launched the first ever hydroponics walk-off program. a hydroponics program that installed 4 state-of-the-art systems in a remote site where we donated hydroponic system as a lasting endowment. Now, this program ensures that communities receive fresh, nutritious produce continuously while also fostering long-term sustainability and self-reliance. Now, on the surface and media, it was a groundbreaking initiative, leveraging advanced technology for foster sustainable agriculture with young people in the mix. And so, after 5 successful harvests, we encountered a significant challenge. We had not fully planned or how to track and monitor these systems in such a challenging and isolated location with a team that were still 16-year-olds as well. So with a team who were still in high school, we didn't have a roadmap of who would monitor these systems every week in terms of time bandwidth and second, technical expertise. And so despite our innovative approach, it became clear that we were struggling to measure the true impact of our efforts. So this experience taught me a crucial lesson, that grand scale projects aren't always better if we haven't considered the practicalities of how we can truly implement it and how we can regularly evaluate it. It's not always just about how impressive the technology is or how ambitious our goals are. It's also about how effectively we can manage and measure our progress. Now let's shift to a different project, our environmental education workshops and our environmental modules for underprivileged children. This initiative was on a smaller scale, but the impact was more profound. The children's excitement was very infectious. They were very inspired and very empowered. And now what made this project also particularly powerful was its simplicity and replicability. Unlike larger resource-intensive projects, ones we simply can't manage as a group of students, this initiative was within our reach. It didn't require a massive budget or advanced technical skills. It was something we could execute well with the capabilities we had, and it allowed us to replicate the impact across multiple communities. And here's the added value. This project wasn't just relevant to the community, but it was also helping our team grow. It gave us the opportunity to develop critical soft skills like curriculum design and critical thinking. And this is proof that impactful work doesn't just change the world, but it also changes us too. Moreover, the effect on our team was also transformative. Engaging with these children also brought a really new sense of purpose and enthusiasm in our staff. Our team felt a deep connection to our mission, and they found a new level of motivation in their work, and it made their work quality and well-being better too. This boost in engagement wasn't something we could quantify with metrics, but it was invaluable to our success and my happiness too. There's that different feeling of satisfaction, of successful leadership when you know that your team is happy with the work that they do. In essence, the journey taught me that the true measure of a project's impact lies not in its scale or complexity, but also in its practical implementation and the depth of its emotional and community connections. Sometimes it's the smaller, well-executed projects that create the most meaningful change. It's a combination of clear vision, practical management, and heartfelt engagement. And so now Green Welfare focuses on 4 main programs that are SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound with the resources we have. Now let's dig even deeper into the unseen impact. For me personally, this is where the magic happens. How does the work we make our team feel? Are they motivated and inspired, or are they burned out and disillusioned? What about the community? Are they just passive beneficiaries, or are they actively engaged and feel a sense of ownership over the change that we want to create? And these are the intangibles, the soul of our work. They don't show up on a spreadsheet, but they're just as important. For example, if you helped someone or donated to a donation campaign, which I'm sure you all have done, maybe you didn't get anything in return, but the feeling of doing good is priceless. And so that's the unseen impact. It's the ripple effect we create in the lives of those who we touch. One of the children who participated in our program, Alia, is a vivid example. Alia came from a community where environmental issues were rarely discussed. Through our workshop, she discovered a new interest in environmental economics. So now with the knowledge and inspiration she gained that led her to start her own program, she created her own organization that taught economic aspects of sustainability to her peers. And so Alia's initiatives not only continues the work we began, but also extends its reach into new areas of impact. But the unseen impact doesn't stop there. It also extends to our team members. For example, after working on this educational program, many of our team members reported a profound shift in their own perspectives and motivation. They felt a deeper connection to our mission and a sense of purpose. One team member, Tasha, shared that seeing the children's enthusiasm and progress created her passion for environmental work, and now she is pursuing her bachelor's in agriculture so she can work towards sustainable agriculture technology. To measure impact effectively, we need a solid framework and something to keep us grounded and focused. And so at Green Welfare in Asia, we rely on 4 key pillars. First is relevance. Are we tackling what really matters around us? Second, attribution. Can we honestly say we did this? Third, sustainability. Are these changes going to last or are they just temporary? And fourth, scalability. Can we take this success and replicate it on a larger scale? We measure what matters because what matters gets done. But how do we apply these pillars? And here's where it gets practical. Start with the end in mind. What's our big goal? And work backwards from there. Second, don't just guess and what's working. Get feedback from the people who are living the change and the ones who help create the change, your team. Here's the danger with climate action today. It can easily become performative. We do things that look good, but don't actually change anything. So how do we keep it real? 2 questions that always get me on my feet. Are our actions creating lasting change or just a momentary buzz? And second, is the community truly benefiting, or are we just creating feel-good moments for ourselves and for the institutions we represent? My first advice would be to be transparent. Share the wins and the losses like I just did recently. If something's not working, admit it and pivot. Admitting to failure or trial and error is not an optional step in creating impact. It's actually a mandatory step. Second is to become continuous leaders. I'll have to admit that I'm still learning when it comes to working in the climate space. I just started about 4 years ago, and it hasn't been easy juggling this with my life as a student. But if there's one thing I've learned is we need to be just as quick to adapt. One of the best practices we've adopted is to stay flexible. In a youth-based volunteer movement like ours, the way we work often needs to change as new people join. Every team is different, and it's important to tailor how we operate to fit the strength and the presence of our members. We found that when people feel included and satisfied with how things are run, they're more motivated, and that's what leads to long-term impact. We also started listening more to our members. We realized that our team is strong, and we need to give everyone a voice. So the biggest takeaway from our journey so far that we need to be continuous leaders. We're always ready to change with strategies and structures to fit the people we're working with. And my last point is to be community-centered. I like to say climate action is like a group project with free riders. If you're the only one doing the work, sure, you might get an A, but did anyone else learn? Throughout my time with Green Welfare, I realized that climate action is not only getting people on board, but it is also about everyone contributing to the ideas, everyone learning, everyone executing. And so this approach turned into our initiative into a community-wide effort. So real impact is felt in the heart, seen in the numbers, and lived in the community. In closing, 3 steps to make climate action truly impactful: focus on what matters, play to your strength, and measure your impact. Don't just make a difference, measure it, live it, and make sure it lasts so we can reach golden Indonesia by 2045. Thank you, and let's get to work.